Some say that alongside this see-it-to-believe-it world is the shadowy realm of the supernatural. Sometimes the residents of that dimension touch us, and in one moment, our lives are changed forever. America's Lady of Supernatural Thrillers, Mary Ann Pohl, is your real Ghost Chatter host. On this podcast, you'll hear stories by real people who have seen real ghosts. Once in a while, Mary Ann will podcast a tale taken from the genre she loves best, the supernatural. Welcome to today's Real Ghost Chatter episode.
Have you heard about Anchor? If you haven't, I'm here to tell you it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free, and I mean free. I haven't paid a dime to produce or distribute my podcasts. There's a creation tool that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. How easy is that? Podcast distribution can be a headache, but not with Anchor. Anchor distributes your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many, many more. As a bonus and not an obligation, you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Anchor has everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hello, welcome back to Real Ghost Chatter. For those of you who are new, I'm Mary Ann Pohl, America's Lady of Supernatural Thrillers, a charter member of a wonderful group of talented authors called Author Masterminds, and your host on Real Ghost Chatter. I have two, I hope, interesting stories for you today. But before I begin, I want to take a moment and ask you all to please pray for America. We are in a battle like none I've seen in my years on this earth. If you know anything about my writing, you know I believe in spiritual warfare. I believe this is what is happening around us right now. As St. Paul said, our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. You can find that in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. In Raven's Cove, the first book in the Iconoclast series, I am reminded of one of the characters, Pastor Paul Lucas, who says, "Our town is under siege, gentlemen, but not by humans. I believe our country and our world are under siege and the battle is starting to heat up. So please pray. Thanks much." Now, on to the show. The first place I want to talk about is Freetown-Fall River State Forest in Massachusetts. A forest stroll is usually a peaceful activity, unless you're in Freetown-Fall River State Forest. The majority of these woods, usually referred to as Freetown State Forest, pass through the center of Freetown itself. If you dare, you can meander the 50 miles of unpaved roads and trails which cut through its 5,441 acres. Freetown State Forest regularly makes the list of most haunted forests in the world. It is part of the fabled Bermuda Triangle and is known as the Cursed Forest of Massachusetts. Behind Freetown State Forest's comforting shady paths and bright clearings lurk a dark reputation. Documented murders and tales of the paranormal surround this place. First, some of the murders. In November of 1978, the corpse of 15-year-old Mary Lou Arruda was found tied to a tree in the woods. A man, James M. Cater, was eventually convicted of that murder. In 1980, police investigated another murder near the forest. Several locals told them they witnessed satanic cult activity in the woods. Some believed this activity to be connected to the so-called Fall River cult killings occurring during this same period. Suspicious clearings, stained with animal blood, were found in the forest. The oddly arranged carcasses of cattle were later discovered in the woods, giving even more credence to the ritual sacrifice rumors. In 1987, a homeless man was somehow mistaken for an undercover police officer and killed. In 2001, 2 bullet-riddled bodies were discovered on Bell Rock Road, which winds through the forest. Now, to the bizarre instances. In 2006, reports of roving and aggressive dogs plagued the area, and an escaped emu was spotted wandering the forest and charging visitors. In May of 2016, people discovered wires stretched across frequently traveled forest paths, strung in such a way as to catch off-road motorbike riders across the neck and likely to decapitate them. These explainable events are enough to give any place an eerie, unwelcoming feel. Add the forest's supernatural reputation, and the area pegs the extreme creepy needle. The forest sits in the infamous Bridgewater Triangle. The triangle is the epicenter of an astonishing collection of inexplicable, bizarre phenomena reported since colonial times, including strange creatures, Bigfoot, UFOs, ghosts, specters, ominous black helicopters, mysterious orbs of light, strange disappearances, giant snakes, poltergeist activity, and cattle mutilations. The forest is rumored to be home to a race of diminutive humanoid creatures known as pukwudgies, which have long been known by the native Wampanoag tribe. These creatures are described as troll-like beasts between 2 and 3 feet in height. They sport smooth, hairy gray skin that is said to glow on occasion. The pukwudgies have a reputation for mischief and mayhem and are said to intentionally startle people, throw rocks or sand in their faces, push or shove them, kidnap them, hurl them from cliffs, wrestle with them, or even attack them with knives or spears. Legend says the pukwudgies are competent magic users and shapeshifters. The natives give these creatures a wide berth, claiming that they cannot be trifled with or approached. Numerous visitors to the forest claim to have seen such beings. The mischievous beasts are blamed for a high number of people supposedly falling from cliffs to their deaths in the area. Freetown State Forest is littered with locations that seem to be possessed of some dark power. Perhaps the most well-known of these is an 80-foot deep rock quarry known as the Assinet Ledge, or just the Ledge. Visitors to the ledge report being overcome with a burning, unshakable sense of dread when nearing the quarry. It is rumored to be a hot spot for Satanists and other cults, as well as ghost sightings. Numerous people report seeing ghosts jumping from the ledge only to disappear before reaching the water below. Others say they see a spirit standing ominously at the top of the ledge. In 1974, then-Governor Ronald Reagan reported seeing strange lights in the sky within the forest. The story goes that Reagan was flying in a Cessna over the ledge with a pilot, Air Force Colonel Bill Painter, and 2 security personnel. They noticed strange lights tailing the plane. The lights accelerated, decelerated, and elongated all within minutes. It reportedly shot upwards at a 45-degree angle and disappeared. Reagan related the incident to Norman C. Miller, the Washington bureau chief for the Wall Street Journal, back in 1974. A Wampanoag legend is related to Profile Rock, sometimes called Joshua's Mountain. It reportedly takes on the image of Wampanoag chief Massasoit, and legend has it is the location where the chief's son died. The tribe has long held the rock to be a sacred place. To this day, the name Profile Rock conjures images of various ghostly phenomena, from strange glowing disembodied voices to orbs of light to sinister apparitions. Then there is the Hockomock Swamp. The swamp is a 16,950-acre wetland covering much of the northern part of southeastern Massachusetts and is the state's largest freshwater swamp. The swamp gets its name from the native Wampanoag people and means place where the spirits dwell. Early settlers to the area quickly learned of the swamp's dangers and numerous alleged ghosts prowling its darkness and called it the Devil's Swamp. Mysterious animals are said to prowl the swamp. These wetlands are also a hotbed of UFO sightings. There are regular reports of ghosts, specters, and phantoms in the vicinity. Hockomock Swamp is the site of numerous massacres and brutal conflicts between early settlers and the native people. One theory is these horrors infused the swamp with an evil force and made it a haunt of vengeful spirits. Adding to the list of strange places within Freetown State Forest is an immense 40-ton boulder known as Dighton Rock. Numerous and mysterious petroglyphs, drawings of figures, geometric shapes, and alleged cryptic writing cover the boulder, none of which can be comprehensively identified and have unknown origins. In summary, if you decide to visit Freetown-Fall River State Park, be ready to see more than beautiful scenery. Prepare yourself to encounter UFOs, ghosts, and mysterious animals. You never know who or what will join you. Next, I'd like to continue with the Vile Vortices that I talked about a little bit on one of my previous episodes. I'm going to share with you what I shared with Robin Barefield on her podcast, which is entitled Murder and Mystery in the Last Frontier. Maybe you're asking, what is a vile vortex? You've heard chilling stories about the Bermuda Triangle, right? Well, there are several other mysterious places where ships and planes seem to vanish. In fact, there are 12 places collectively called the Vile Vortices, and like their more famous sibling, they all hold some rather creepy secrets. There are smaller vortices too. For this article, though, I'll concentrate on the 12 identified vortices. First, some background. To this day, scientists are not exactly sure how vile vortices work or why they happen. We know that there are areas in which strange, possibly even paranormal phenomena, disappearances, and disturbing tales seem to be commonplace. The vile vortices are 12 equidistant vertex points on a planetary grid. Ivan T. Sanderson, a naturalist and paranormal investigator, originally plotted these anomalies. Sanderson first coined the term vile vortices in his article, The 12 Devil's Graveyards Around the World, published in Saga magazine in 1972. Sanderson is the founder of the Society for the Investigation of the Unexplained and was avidly interested in investigating ship and plane disappearances linked to the paranormal. So in the late 60s, he focused his attention on 10 areas that were approximately equidistant and were the subjects of reported unexplained incidents and/or electronic distortions. The 10 vile vortices he referenced are located in the Earth's tropical climates. 5 of them fall within the Tropic of Cancer and the other 5 within the Tropic of Capricorn. The 2 remaining vile vortices are located at the North and South Poles. Together, the vile vortices form the vertices of an icosahedron, which is a 20-faced polyhedron. Sanderson theorized that hot and cold air and sea currents crossing these saucer-shaped areas might create the electromagnetic anomalies responsible for the disappearances of planes and seagoing vessels and the reported mechanical and instrument malfunctions in these areas. Half of the vortices reside above the equator and half below it. They are also evenly spread out on the Earth, which investigators suggest prove there is something logical and mathematical to this chaos. Here's a list of the vile vortices: the Bermuda Triangle, the Algerian megaliths, the city of Mohenjo-Daro, the Hamakulia volcano east of Hawaii, the Dragon's Triangle in the Devil's Sea, the South Atlantic anomaly, the Wharton Basin, the Easter Island megaliths, east of Rio de Janeiro, the Loyalty Islands, the North Pole, and the South Pole. Today I'll share some stories from the 3 best known of these vile vortices: the Bermuda Triangle, the Dragon's Triangle in the Devil's Sea, and the South Atlantic anomaly. However, all 12 geographic areas have reported instances of magnetic anomalies and other unexplained phenomena. The Bermuda Triangle has a long and sordid history. Whole fleets of torpedo bombers, spy planes, Navy ships, the infamous Mary Celeste, and other have all come to mysterious calamity in this ocean area near the tip of Florida. Glowing water, spinning compasses, random malfunctions, and strange sightings while passing through are reported by the lucky ones who weren't lost. The other thing we know for sure is that people are dying there. In the last 100 years, over 1,000 people have lost their lives to the Bermuda Triangle. Whether or not you believe something paranormal is happening there, you must admit that those are some scary numbers. This South Atlantic anomaly is particularly interesting because NASA has extensively studied the area itself. An inner and outer radiation belt surrounds the Earth. In the South Atlantic, the inner radiation belt comes closest to the Earth's surface than anywhere else, creating an area where the Earth's magnetic field is weaker and there's a flux of energetic particles. Many times, satellites who go through this belt experience malfunctions and glitches, and astronauts see strange shooting star-like lights. This place also causes severe problems for aircraft. Planes disappear mysteriously here, which probably has something to do with navigational and electronic malfunctions. The Dragon's Triangle is located in the sea the Japanese call Mono-Umi, which loosely translated means Sea of the Devil. Often compared to the Bermuda Triangle, the Dragon's Triangle is an area where seagoing vessels and aircraft allegedly mysteriously disappear. Besides vanishing planes and ships, phenomena linked to the Dragon's Triangle include ghost ships, UFOs, lapses in time, and electronic equipment malfunctions. Some writers, including Charles Berlitz, even link the Dragon's Triangle to the disappearance of Amelia Earhart. In the USA is the Bridgewater Triangle in Massachusetts. Although not an official Vile Vortex, the inland Bridgewater Triangle is likely one of the world's most concentrated areas of various paranormal reports. Located just 30 miles south of Boston, this 200-square-mile area has the Massachusetts towns of Abington, Freetown, and Rehoboth at its angles. Located nearly dead center within the triangle is the town of Bridgewater, and the area also encompasses 6 other Massachusetts towns, which are Raynham, Taunton, Brockton, Mansfield, Norton, and Easton. Aside from the number and diversity of paranormal reports, what is phenomenal about the Bridgewater Triangle is that the first report of paranormal activity was made almost 3 centuries ago in 1760. At 10 a.m. on May 10th, 1760, a quote-unquote sphere of fire was reported to hover over New England and emit light so brightly it cast shadows in the morning sun. Reportedly, people saw the light in both Bridgewater and Roxbury. Since then, the area has spawned diverse reports, including paranormal events ranging from ghost dancers to UFOs to cryptozoological sightings. If you enjoyed this podcast, I encourage you to share it with others you think would also be interested. If you'd like to know more about me, go to maryannpoll.com and or authormasterminds.com/MARY-ANN-POLL. Until next time, may the wind always be at your back, the sun on your face, and the good Lord walk beside you.